At 11:47 p.m. that night, Wálé received one final message from his wife. He read it once, then again. His hands began to tremble. It contained only a single line. When you discover the truth, do not believe the first person who tells you. He called her. No answer. He tried again. Still nothing. By morning, she was gone. No struggle, no warning, no trace. And the house looked as though she had never intended to leave. But then, Wálé found something inside the house. Something that made no sense. Something she had hidden for 7 years. And suddenly, her disappearance was no longer the mystery. The real question became, what did she discover before she vanished? Lagos loved the Adeyemis. From their city mansion in Lekki to their family compound in Ibadan, people saw them as the definition of a successful Yoruba marriage. Wálé Adeyemi was handsome, worthy and ambitious. His father, Chief Babatunde Adeyemi, had built a powerful real estate empire over 3 decades. Yemisi, his wife, was equally impressive. She ran a successful interior design business and was known amongst Lagos social circle for her intelligence, class, and elegance. Whenever they attended weddings, birthdays, or social events together, people admired them. See this couple, women would whisper, "May God give us this kind of marriage." Yemisi would smile. Wálé would put his arms around her waist, and the cameras would flash. Nobody saw what happened after the door closed. Their marriage had become a battlefield. They argued about money. They argued about children. They argued about Wale's mother. But most importantly, they argued about secrets. For almost a year, Yemisi had repeatedly asked Wálé the same question. Who is Okeayo? Every time she asked, his explanation changed. What kind of question is that? The woman whose name I found in your father's old documents. You went through my father's documents? I found them in our house. Yemisi, leave my family alone. But Yemisi wouldn't. Something had changed inside her. She had stopped asking questions like a curious wife. She had started asking them like an investigator. Their 7th wedding anniversary was supposed to be a celebration. Wálé booked a private dinner at a luxury restaurant in Victoria Island. Yemisi didn't attend. Instead, she told him she had a headache. Wálé was angry. You promised me. I know. 7 years, Yemisi. Is this too much to spend one evening together? She stared at him. Maybe 7 years is exactly why I don't want to celebrate tonight. What does that mean? Nothing. She walked away. That was the last conversation anyone had between them. At 10:30 p.m., Wálé left the house. He told his driver he was going to meet a friend. At 11:47 p.m., Yemisi sent the message. Then she disappeared. The following morning, Wálé returned home. Yemisi, silence. He searched the bedroom, the bathroom, the kitchen, the guest room. Nothing. Her car was still outside. Her handbags were still inside. Her passport was still in the drawer. Her wedding ring was on the table. Then he noticed the envelope. His hands began shaking. He opened it. Inside was one sentence. Ask your father what happened at Okeayo. Wálé sat on the bed. For several minutes, he didn't move because he knew exactly what Okeayo was. By 9 a.m., Wálé had reported Yemisi missing to the authorities. By 11 a.m., her photograph was circulating on social media. By 12 p.m., a popular Lagos blogger posted, "Married woman disappears on anniversary. Husband questioned." By evening, television stations were outside the Adeyemi mansion. Neighbors gathered behind the gates. Motorcycle riders discussed the story. Women in saloons debated it. Men in beer parlor argued about it. Social media gave Wálé a new name, the Lekki husband. Some people believed he killed her. Others believed Yemisi had run away. Some claimed she had discovered an affair. Others said it was a ritual matter. Then someone leaked a photograph of the envelope. The internet exploded. Who is Okeayo? Inspector Femi Adebayo was assigned to the case. His first interview with Wálé lasted 40 minutes. You loved your wife? Yes. You argued frequently? Yes. She suspected you of something? Wálé hesitated. Yes. What? I don't know. Inspector Femi leaned forward. You expect me to believe you don't know why your wife was afraid of you? I never hurt her. That's not what I asked. Wálé said nothing. The police searched the house. They found nothing incriminating. No blood, no weapon, no evidence of violence. Then they examined CCTV footage. At 11:32 p.m., a dark SUV stopped outside the Adeyemi compound. A man stepped out. He entered through the pedestrian gate. 20 minutes later, he left. Inspector Femi froze the footage. Who is this? Wálé looked at the screen. I don't know, but Inspector Femi noticed something. Wálé had become pale. You know him? No. You are lying. Wálé remained silent. Later that night, Inspector Femi discovered the man's identity. His name was Tope Akinwale, Wale's childhood friend, his lawyer, and the man who had helped Wálé handle several confidential family matters. When questioned, Tope admitted visiting the house, but he gave a strange explanation. I came because Yemisi called me. What did she want? I can't tell you. You are investigating a disappearance. I gave her my word. Inspector Femi stared at him. Then you are going to have to decide whether your promise to her is more important than finding her. Tope looked down. Then he said, she told me that if anything happened to her, I should never trust Wálé. Inspector Femi traveled to Ibadan. He visited the Adeyemi's family's old compound. There he met an elderly woman named Iyashade. When she heard Yemisi's name, she became unusually quiet. You know her? She came here 3 months ago. What did she want? She asked about Okeayo. Inspector Femi's eyes narrowed. What is Okeayo? Iyashade sighed. Not what you think. She led him to an old wooden chest. Inside were photographs, letters, and documents. Then she showed him a photograph. It showed Chief Babatunde Adeyemi as a young man. Beside him stood another man, and between them was a little girl. On the back of the photograph was written, Okeayo, 1989. Inspector Femi asked, who is the girl? Yashade looked towards the doorway, then whispered, she is the reason Yemisi disappeared. Inspector Femi returned to Lagos. He confronted Chief Babatunde. What happened at Okeayo? The old man became furious. That name means nothing. It means enough for your daughter-in-law to disappear. Chief Babatunde's face changed. Where is Yemisi? We're asking you. The old man sat down. After several minutes, he finally spoke. 37 years ago, my business partner disappeared. Who? Kunle Akinwale. Inspector Femi froze. Tope's father? Chief Babatunde nodded. We had a land dispute. What happened? I don't know. But Inspector Femi knew he was lying. Meanwhile, somewhere outside Lagos, Yemisi opened her eyes. She was alive. She was sitting inside a small room. A generator hummed outside. A woman placed a bowl of food before her. Yemisi looked at the woman. Where am I? The woman smiled. You are safe. Who are you? My name is Morenike. Yemisi's eye widened. Wallace's mother? The woman nodded. Yemisi stepped backward. How did you? Morenike interrupted. Because I helped you disappear. Yemisi stared at her. For the first time, the audience realizes that the disappearance was not what it appeared to be. Yemisi hadn't been kidnapped. She had planned it. But she hadn't planned it alone. 7 years earlier, Yemisi had met Wálé at a wedding ceremony in Lagos. Their relationship moved quickly. Within months, they were married. But Yemisi's father had warned her. Be careful with the Adeyemis. She had ignored him. Years later, while renovating an old room in their house, Yemisi discovered documents hidden behind a wooden cabinet. The documents concerned land acquired by the Adeyemi family decades earlier. One name appeared repeatedly: Kunle Akinwale, the same man whose son, Tope, was Wale's closest friend. Yemisi investigated. She discovered that Kunle had accused Chief Babatunde of stealing his ancestral land. Then Kunle disappeared. But the most disturbing document was a handwritten confession. It suggested that a young girl had witnessed the confrontation. That girl was the child in the photograph, and that child had been sent away. Yemisi eventually discovered her identity. She was alive, and she was living in Lagos under another name. This was the secret Yemisi had never told anyone. She had not married Wálé by accident. Years before their wedding, she had already suspected that the Adeyemi family was connected to her own father's disappearance from business. She married Wálé because she wanted access to the family. She wanted answers. But somewhere along the way, she fell in love with him. That was her greatest mistake. Because Wálé was not his father's accomplice. He was another victim of the family's secret. Yemisi eventually discovered that Wálé had been secretly investigating his own father. That was why their marriage had become so complicated. They were both searching for the same truth, but neither trusted the other enough to admit it. Inspector Femi found the missing witness. Her name was Aduni. She was living quietly in motion. When she saw the old photograph, she began crying. I remember that day. What happened? My father fought with Chief Babatunde. Did he kill your father? No. Then who did? Aduni looked directly at Inspector Femi. Nobody killed my father. What? He disappeared because Chief Babatunde paid him to disappear. Why? Because my father had discovered something. What? Aduni whispered. Wálé was not his biological son. Inspector Femi stared at her. The room went silent. Chief Babatunde had taken Wálé as a child after a tragic family dispute. Wale's biological father was Kunle Akinwale, the man everyone believed had disappeared. Tope was not Wale's biological brother. He was his cousin. And the Adeyemi family had spent decades hiding the truth because the land dispute involved an inheritance worth billions of naira. Wálé had unknowingly grown up inside the family whose action had destroyed his biological father's life. When Yemisi discovered the truth, she decided to expose everything. But she knew that if she simply went to the police, the Adeyemi family would destroy the evidence. So she deliberately created a disappearance. She made herself the victim. She made Wálé the suspect. She knew Lagos social media would do the rest, and it did. 3 days after Yemisi disappeared, the police received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a memory card. Inspector Femi played it. Yemisi appeared on screen. She was sitting in a dimly lit room. Inspector Femi, if you are watching this, then my plan worked. She explained everything. Then she looked directly into the camera. Wálé didn't kill me. He helped me. Inspector Femi stopped the video. He immediately returned to the Adeyemi house. Wálé was waiting. You knew? Yes. You knew she was alive? Yes. Where is she? Wálé looked towards his father. Then he said, ask him. Chief Babatunde's face collapsed. The old man finally confessed. He admitted that decades earlier, he had helped force Kunle Akinwale out of Lagos after a bitter land dispute. Kunle had survived. He had started another life. But he never returned because he feared what will happen to his family. The hidden fortune was not a hidden money. It was land. Land that had been stolen through forged documents. And Yemisi had found the original papers. 2 weeks later, Yemisi returned to Lagos. The city went crazy. News stations rushed to interview her. Bloggers fought for exclusive footage. People who had called her husband a murderer suddenly praised him. But Yemisi refused every interview. She went straight to her husband's house. Wálé stood at the gate. Several seconds. Neither spoke. Finally, he asked, why didn't you trust me? Yemisi looked at him. Because I loved you. Wálé frowned. That doesn't make sense. It does, she continued. When you love someone, you are afraid of what their family can do to them. Wálé lowered his voice. Are we still married? Yemisi smiled sadly. I don't know. Months later, the land case went to court. Chief Babatunde lost control of several properties. The stolen land was returned to its rightful owners. The truth about Wale's identity became public. And Lagos eventually found another scandal to discuss. But in the old street, where people still remember the story, parents told their children, never judge a family by the beauty of its mansion, because sometimes the most beautiful mansions is built on the deepest secrets. And sometimes the person everyone believes is the victim is the person who planned the entire mystery. As for Yemi, she eventually left Lagos. Some say she moved to Abeokuta. Others say she started a new life in Ibadan. But one thing remained certain. Every year, on the night of her 7th wedding anniversary, she received the same message from an unknown number. Just 4 words. The secret remains buried. And nobody ever discussed who sent it. The story of Yemisi teaches us that beautiful marriage can hide painful secrets, and appearances can deceive even the wisest person. Never judge a person or a family simply by what you see from the outside. World status, a beautiful home, exotic cars, and a respected name do not always mean that everything behind closed doors is perfect. But the story also teaches us something deeper. Secrets may remain hidden for years, but the truth has a way of finding its way into the light. Lies can protect a person for a season, but eventually they demand a price. And when trust disappears from a relationship, even love can become a dangerous game. You cannot touch a secret without eventually discovering what lies inside it. So before you judge someone, remember that you may know their story, but you may not know their secret. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Yemisi was right to fake her disappearance to uncover the truth? Or do you believe she went too far by making everyone, including her husband, believe she was dead or missing? Tell me, what would you have done if you were in Yemisi's position? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if this story kept you guessing until the very end, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. We bring you mysterious African stories filled with secrets, betrayal, wisdom, culture, and unexpected twists. Like this video, share it with someone who loves African mystery stories. And remember, not every disappearance is a kidnapping. Not every marriage is what it seems. And not every secret stays buried forever. Until the next story.